After Montana State's narrow win on the road against Northern Arizona, this week has been all about getting back to the basics, and a big reason for that is the number of explosive plays that they gave up on defense, their second most this season. And that is smash mouth football, with the nation's top rushing offense in the Bobcats matching up against the nation's top rushing defense, a collision course that's going to end with only one team punching their ticket to the national championship. But the Lumberjacks have been absolutely getting revenge this tournament, taking down teams that they lost to in the regular season, and a big piece of that is their point guard, Jalen Cone, who's averaging just over 21 points per game. As far as what's next for Montana State, a source did confirm with me that assistants Andy Hill and Chris Haslam are expected to join Sprinkle at Utah State. Now, I did ask Johnson on Thursday if him and Corey have spoken at all since he accepted the job at Montana State, and he joked around saying nope, they haven't spoken yet, and that Corey's probably a little upset because he's wearing that blue and gold. Well, there's a lot of excitement built up around Bobcat football this fall, coming off their trip to the national championship. The Big Sky Conference as a whole is more stacked than ever, with 6 teams ranked in the preseason polls. Coach Ball, slow start for you guys. You give up 2 fumbles, but a couple of explosive drives, and it puts you up 4 against the number 3 ranked team in the nation. What was the difference maker for you guys? From Little League to the soccer field, youth sports are a cornerstone for thousands of children here in Montana. But between the rising costs of playing sports coupled with inflation, kids even across the country have had to hang up their cleats. You know it's been a late night when you start to see the sun rise before you actually get to go to bed, but who needs sleep? Who even needs coffee when you're still running off of that energy from last night's double overtime win against Weber State? With a wind chill of -17 for Saturday's semifinal game, Montana State's offensive performance wasn't much warmer, rushing for only 52 yards. At the beginning of this football season, you were a name not many people knew about just because you were a walk-on, but in the last couple of weeks, it's safe to say you've kind of become a household name just because people have started to learn about your story. One of the first position groups that he mentioned was that quarterback room, saying that they threw the ball particularly well, specifically Jordan Reed and Tommy Malott. Jordan Reed, of course, missed the 2022 season after suffering a knee injury during fall camp. Was the level of confidence that they had on the court compared to last year's tournament? Obviously, a big piece of that is a healthy roster from top to bottom, which is a stark difference from when they played Texas Tech. There are a lot of Montanans that make up this roster, but I'll say you are one of the few to be from Missoula. Now, there is a football program in that town, but you chose Montana State. Why was that? The first 2 of 5 spring rodeos are in the books for the Big Sky region, with the Sunday Short Go wrapping up a long 4 days of competition at Montana State, and the Bobcats continuing to widen their lead in those team standings. Armstrong helped produce one of the most prolific rushing offenses in Bobcat history, numbers that even got the attention of the FBS. Troy Anderson's NFL dreams are now reality for the former Bobcat after being selected by the Atlanta Falcons 58th overall in the second round. While Anderson did it all during his 5 years at Montana State, playing running back and quarterback, and with only one starter returning on each side of the ball this fall, finding who to fill those holes has been a primary concern. From college to now NFL teammates, another pair of Bobcats are continuing their football careers together after both Ty Okada and James Campbell signed contracts with the Seattle Seahawks over the weekend matchup against the number 3 Thunderbirds. Southern Utah also coming off a loss and showing some aggression early with the big jam from the big man, Jason Spurgeon. Montana State would bring out the big cat, who made quite the big play, finding Derek Snell down the left sideline for a 28-yard score. And with momentum on their side, why not bring out a little trickery? Malott to Cleveland Thomas Jr., then back to Sean Chambers for the double reverse, who heaves it from deep, and Willie Patterson with the catch for the 47-yard score. I don't know how I got myself into this position because I said I wasn't going to race you. He could jog and still beat me.
I'll jog and I'll pull away at the end.
Was that just a jog too?
Yeah.
That was good. Football is more than just a game. It's a brotherhood, a community, tradition. But once a week in the NFL, it's also a platform where players are able to wear their hearts on their feet.
They gave us a bunch, options and different choices to choose from, but it was kind of a no-brainer for me.
Through the Cause My Cleats initiative, Week 13 of the NFL is an opportunity for both players and coaches to reveal their passions behind the game of football, while also raising awareness for organizations that have a special meaning to them. During training camp, Rams rookies had the chance to sort through a list of potential causes, but for Lance McCutcheon, the decision was easy.
The reason why I chose mental health and suicide prevention is because that topic really hits home with me. In 8th grade, I lost my best friend to suicide.
Connor Mills was your typical 14-year-old boy. He was an athlete, loved to hang out with his friends, was the best twin, big brother, and had a way of making people laugh.
Connor was an amazing young man. He lit up the room when he came in. He had such a big, kind heart.
Connor's mom had a first-hand seat to Connor and Lance's friendship that of course stemmed from sports, and said it didn't matter if it was football or basketball, the two just clicked.
They had a connection.
Growing up, he was my best friend. He was like the big brother to me, the big brother that I never had. And he's always someone I could, come to, laugh with.
Laughs that often echoed through the Mills household, but even behind that beautiful smile, there was also pain.
I think he was scared to tell people he was depressed because they would say, what are you depressed about? You're this great kid with, a loving family and wonderful friends and in a great community. He really hid it from us.
And on May 31st, 2013, just weeks before the end of the school year, Connor Mills took his own life.
One of the last things he said to me when he was struggling was he had taped the words love and hope up in his room. And I asked him about it, and he said it was because when he's really struggling on those dark nights, that's what he holds on to, is love and hope. And then he looked at me and he asked me, promise me, Mom, you'll never give up on love and hope.
Since 2013, people from all walks of life have been working to end the stigma around mental health. Lance's cleats are just a small piece of the work being done, but if there was one person that was helped during Week 13 of the NFL, it's a step in the right direction.
Whoever is struggling with mental health and, has contemplated suicide, I just want to let them know that whatever you're going through, and no matter how hard it is, that, the answer is never to take your own life. You have a lot of people, friends and family that love you and care about you and want the best for you and do what they can to help you get through this.
I did have a pretty vivid dream not long after where he told me he didn't mean to, but he was just in so much pain. And so that's why I so appreciate Lance shouting out these organizations. I hope people call and when they ever need help.
Life without their son, their twin, and their big brother hasn't been easy the last 9 years. But if there was one thing that's certain, they're definitely not giving up on love and hope. In Bozeman, Ashley Washburn, MTN Sports.
Patterson throws ahead. Raekwon makes the catch, and that will do it. Raekwon Battle will let it roll out. Put a stamp on it. You are witnessing the golden age of Bobcat basketball.
Every head coach has expectations of what they want their program to look like. Would you have ever imagined that this program would be able to accomplish what it has in these last 4 seasons?
Not this quickly. I'd be lying if I told you. I'd say we'd be back to back. I knew we'd be good. I knew how special Bozeman was. It was just about getting the right kids here, because once you get a taste of it, all you want to do is get back. And, my staff has been unbelievable.
Back-to-back trips to the NCAA tournament. When you think about those fans that watched you as a player, now here you are as a coach, what has it been like coaching for your alma mater?
It's been a lot of pressure, but I think it's probably more that I just put on myself. Like before every decision or before every game, I'm thinking of the fans, I'm thinking of the former players, and I don't want to let them down. It's still numbing, when I'm even coaching, sometimes even now, 4 years later, I'll look across the court sometimes at the end of the game and you still see so many fans that were there cheering me on, and they're just diehards, and that means something to me.
What is that recruiting process like, or the philosophy to get to this point?
In order to have tradition like we have, I want them to know who the great players were in Bobcat basketball. I want them to know who the great teams were, the championship teams. And that way they know when they put on that jersey who they're representing. They're representing guys from '85, from the '70s, from the '96 team, the 2002. And when you have high character guys, it's easy to get them to play together because all they want to do is win.
There's always some sort of Cinderella team in this tournament, and you had said, why not us?
Why not?
If somebody had to ask you, how would you define Montana State basketball and what Montana State basketball stands for, how would you put that into words?
Disciplined, tough, and gritty. For us to go, I think it was 18-3 in league games, and then last year, 19-4 in league, that's hard. You have to be tough and you have to be able to, find different ways to win, and that's what this program's done.
People are calling this the golden age of Bobcat basketball. When you hear those words, what does that mean to you?
it'll be the golden age if we win on Friday. You know, I told the guys, like, pack for 5 days. You know, I'm not planning on coming home Saturday. I'm not planning on. So bring 2 uniforms, bring tons of gear and all that, because I want to come home on Monday.